So Holly and I wanted, first of all, just to thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for all the work and joy that you've put into the workshop this weekend. Thank you. And we're going to begin our sort of closing remarks with, actually, I asked a few of the participants who workshopped their translations this weekend to just briefly share their impression or an anecdote or a sort of takeaway from the weekend. So if I spoke to you at tea break, will you come up? Should I remind you who you are? Thanks. So each of the participants will just take a few minutes to share something of their impression. So. Should I just start? Sure.
Okay. Hello, everyone. First of all, I want to thank everyone, especially the organizers and everyone, for this wonderful learning experience. As a beginner in the practice of translation, I have learned a great deal from all of you, from all the experienced translators and scholars. To say just one thing, it gave me a sort of a deeper understanding of the seriousness and the difficulty of the practice of translation, and how that it's not just the not just getting the content and the form of the text that you're translating, but also the need to cultivate a certain disposition of awareness or consciousness of your own role as a translator, as someone sort of engages in this as a mediator between two or multiple different cultural, spiritual, and sort of literary traditions. So thank you very much for the experience.
Yeah, so spot on. And, you know, we will probably have times, maybe more often than not, sitting in rooms on our own in some dusty corner, looking at our laptops. And this is what we do as translators in academia or otherwise. So then just to come together and be all here together, it's just been full of life. It's been so much fun. And just to read all these varieties of texts, and they've all been amazing. Everything that's been here, it's we're doing such good jobs, and I'm no authority at all, but I like to think the Lotsawas are up there looking down on us and being like, you're doing okay. Yeah, and then I think one thing I'll take away is this mystery of what was happening in room 384, this kind of spontaneous laughter. And I think if I remember back at this conference, that's what I'm going to be hearing, this resounding, cackling and laughter. So, yeah, this has been amazing.
So I completely agree with Tandanja and Sunsarima. This weekend, I think it was very special for me because I think we were presented with a different model of how to produce knowledge and how knowledge is shared. And I think it's actually quite revolutionary what the organizing committee and the funding, Tsadra Foundation and so forth, and CU Boulder have done. Because this weekend, echoing what Sunsarima was saying, it was fun. There was a laughter coming from 384 and other rooms as well. You know, what's so funny about Tibetan words, right? So that in itself is amazing, but also what I found so inspiring was collaboration and how our work is so much better when we collaborate together and we share our ideas from our diverse backgrounds, academic backgrounds, practitioner backgrounds, translation backgrounds. That was amazing. And I really appreciated the kind of, the genuine intellectual inquiry. And there wasn't any kind of, it was just, for the sake of knowledge and so forth. So it was really amazing. And I'd like to present an aspiration. I think Munlam is a very important part to the Tibetan tradition. I'd like to express the aspiration that this model of collaborative and positive learning will encompass and revolutionize the entire world. So, yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you.
It's difficult to know what to add to this. I think I will echo some of what has been voiced about community and just say that some of us have come in here expressing our sense of being imposters, And I would like to offer an alternative and speak about how I'm completely at home amongst you, and the indescribable joy it is to be sharing a space with people who have the similar passion for the beauty and wonder that is Tibetan literature. So thank you.
So I'm also very grateful for being here and participating in all of this. And I guess what I wanted to say is that I work with a small translation group, and we're all young translators who've mostly been trained as translators and not as scholars. And so amongst us, we discuss a lot of the issues we've been talking about. We're always going back and forth which choices we want to make kind of for the future of our translations, stylistically and so on. And it's been amazing to be able to participate in these discussions where I can see that all of these experienced translators and scholars are really asking the same questions and going through the same issues and getting some insights into those things, kind of changing my own mind about how to approach some of these things, but also just feeling, yeah, part of this larger discussion and larger community. So that's been really wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much to you five and to all the participants for, the courage to share your translations in these workshop settings. And I hope everyone picked up on the fact by now that the respondents were as nervous as the participants about this task. So I hope that everyone is happy in the end. So thank you, all of you.
So a whole lot of thank yous are in order. It takes a village, and it also takes a really generous sponsor. And I feel like Tsadra, has done so much to promote these conversations about translation, theory, and practice, and to create opportunities for us to gather. And I feel like the sense of community that is forming around translation, the fact that we feel easier together every time we gather across these lines that we used to think were fraught, scholar, translator, practitioner. The first time we got together for a Tsadra translation conference, the Translation and Transmission Conference, we actually didn't know if people would get along. And then we slowly, it's true. There was a little bit of trepidation. And there are moments, But I think we have all realized we're of the same tribe, that shared love. And the fact that we can create then through these small group workshops where we're really looking closely at texts together, that we can form a kind of safety, community, support, celebration of each other's brilliance and work, even as we're all struggling through the translation process, and it's fraught with all kinds of anxieties. I think that's really, really powerful. And so I want to thank the Tsadra Foundation and Eric in particular, who's joined us today. Thank you so much for your generous support. So there are other thank yous in order. Maybe we could thank our keynotes. And we have something for you. Sorry. So Lama Ja, Panik Gyatso, and Curtis Schaefer, if you could come to the front to receive a kata, please. So their brilliance and their wisdom and the sort of legacy of translators, and now we have a lore developing, and also I have to say, Janet, yes, please. So I feel like, Janet and Curtis have been shepherding this amazing scholarly conversation around the Tibetan genre and style and Yingak and into that conversation now we have Lama Jop, who's a shining star. And last night I have to say I was secretly disappointed about that we gave Ralphie the yak to somebody local and who was translating from Sanskrit. But Janet is the boss and she was the judge, but she also happened to have consecrated Lama Jop by saying that he had given the best ever lecture in Tibetan studies. So lo and behold.
Thank you.
Lagalo!
Thank you all so much. Thank you all. Any words or just... You've said all the words.
It was fantastic. And it's so great to see so many young people. Like the field is really exploding, and I think we're really moving up levels in terms of the level of the way we're able to talk about stuff. And I think in particular the issue that we first address is like our field is not looking at literature as literature. That's starting not to be true. I mean, just from the kinds of things that we're talked about, you guys are ready. You're not just talking about it, it's like getting into the weeds of it and stuff like that. So this is very, very, very encouraging. So fantastic. And hope to see everybody like immediately soon.
I just would like to thank everyone. And I would just also like to say that, you had a really positive response to my keynote. I was very, very nervous. I know I didn't look it. I finished writing about a week ago. And I just would like to say that although I gave the keynote and I'm the sort of the author, so to speak, but it's because of you, because of this imagined audience that I had that really inspired my speech. So it's all Dimdal. I just want to mention that out. Codependent origination, really. Yeah, Dimdal, we're all and really organized. It's unbelievable. I don't know, I just feel this immense sense of gratitude to all of you and to Tsadra, the sponsors, really unbelievable, because this is what, during the Tibetan imperial time when we did the translations, you guys are performing their role. You guys are performing the role of when Tibetan translators carried bags of gold over Himalayas, and you are the ones who are providing us with sackloads of yak loads of gold. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ecstasy and technical issues can go hand in hand. And I'm just so grateful for all of you for your willingness to show your work, because it's this most beautiful and profound human activity that we share together. And we do that by taking the time to say how we do this magical thing of translation.
And I just wanted to thank the people that did all the work, Holly, Dominique, and Joshua especially. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thanks to my team who did all the filming and recording. All right. Enjoy.
So looking ahead, before all of us disperse in the 10 directions, there's already been a conversation of, should we do this again? What do you think? So we will keep you posted. We're hoping to be able to gather again. We're hoping to be able to pass this to potentially another place, another university, and sort of, if possible, keep it going. But certainly we do want to be in touch with you about potentially contributing to an edited volume. It's been wonderful to have David Kittelstrom, and where's Daniel Aiken? Oh, he was here. Anyway, joining us for part of this, and we're in conversation with Wisdom. And they were wonderful about publishing the translations from a previous conference, much, much smaller, just a dozen of us around the table, back in 2013, that resulted in this volume, A Gathering of Brilliant Moons, practice advice from the Rime Masters of Tibet, similarly focused on a genre and a theme. So we're hoping that we can gather some, probably not all, just because of the restraints of a book, translations. So if you're interested in that, let us know. Otherwise, we'll be sort of contacting you. So really, thank you all so much. This has been such a joy, and I feel actually really sad that we all have to go in different directions, but I also feel really happy that we might one day gather again. So thank you all so much.